Good morning. Today is Sunday, June 14th, 2026. My name is Terry Morgan, and we are here to talk about martial arts philosophy and some of the philosophical principles and teachings that inform Shin, heart. This morning, I'm going to talk a bit about the idea we have in English of taking heart, of finding that part of what we have inside ourselves, and that part that we can use to keep going. It's fundamentally what we want to be able to do. That's true for general things as well as for practice. And that's my focus in this class is how we keep going, how we continue to practice. That, again, the idea of taking heart. In the last several classes, and today included, I've been late. I'm not feeling all that great. Part of it is that I'm tired. Part of it is that I've been very sad. I have mentioned this before back in the end of March. My little cat died. I had her for 14 years. Her name was Shin. Same character, Shin. And I continue to go through periods of sadness, loss. I miss her. And when those feelings are too strong, we should not practice. It's not good for us. It reinforces that feeling, and it does not help us to achieve what we really want in practice, which is to quiet the mind, quiet the heart, so that we can see clearly. That sense of quiet can't happen when we're too sad, when we're too happy, when we're too angry, when we're too joyful. Too much of either is unhelpful to our practice. It gives us let me say it this way. If I'm too sad, I'm not going to practice well. I won't have the energy, I won't have the spirit, I won't have the sense of being fully present in my practice. There will be much that will be absent. On the other side, if I'm too happy, I'm ecstatic, this is great, and I'm going to be putting things into my practice that are excessive. Too little, too much. Neither one is good. We want to find that balance where there's some and not too much of anything, where we accept everything. That balance is what we work for in practice. That's what we want to achieve. It's not, I can talk about this. You can understand what I'm saying and not be able to do it. You can hear what I'm saying and have some experience with meditation and paying attention to what you're doing with your physical body as well as with your emotional body, and you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. It depends. The idea that we allow ourselves to feel, it's something that as humans we feel. It's those emotions are part of being human. We want them. They help us. A lot of times we don't like the negative emotions so much. I'd much rather be happy than sad. I would. I would. I would much rather be comfortable than uncomfortable. I would much rather not deal with certain things. I don't want to. I don't, no. I just don't. That sense of what we want to do, what we don't want to do, what we feel, what we allow ourselves to feel, helps us to discover who we are. And that is part of practice. That is longer term. We have to know who we are. We can't continue to practice and not discover who we are. Feelings, emotions, this whole idea of the heart mind, and what we keep in our heart. The idea today of taking heart. I'm very sad. I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to do much of anything. I have to find a way to take heart that I should keep going, that there's something more for me to do, that I probably should do some of the household chores that I've put off. These kinds of things give us that sense of connection through how we live and how those around us live. In my case, those around me are 2 cats, one of which isn't here anymore. The other one is still here, and she would like breakfast very soon now, thanks. Allowing the sadness, allowing the loss is what creates the opportunity for healing. It is. Pushing it away, trying to run away from it. I don't want to deal with this. I do that. We all do. At some point, in some way, it will find us, and we will have to come to terms with it. It's inevitable. How we do that? Oh, so many variations and so many different ways that we find to reconcile who we are, what we have experienced, and what we've learned from that experience. That process is a developmental process. It's not an instant. All of a sudden now I have, 1, 2, 3, and I know A, B, and C, and all of a sudden everything is perfect. Doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. Practice doesn't work that way either. The skills that we develop in martial arts develop. That's the key word, develop. We don't just learn them, we develop them. How we develop them, what we apply to that development is our practice. That's what we do in practice, is we apply those skills. So if my goal in practice is to quiet the mind, quiet the body, quiet the breath, develop the skill to do that, to actually do that. Now I'm busy thinking about all the things that I have to do later on today, and I need to do this and this and this, and I've got a list of tasks that I need to work on, and oh my gosh, I need to go out and do this, and I have to take care of that, and oh well, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I have to figure that out. I have all these things to do. If I can't discipline myself to quiet that down so that, excuse me, so that it's not interfering with my practice. Okay, I'm going to go do that later. Right now, I'm going to practice. Right now, we're in class. And that part of recognition is right now, we're in class. I'm going to do that later. I don't need to pay attention to that right now. I need to pay attention to what I'm doing in class right now. As I develop that discipline, I'm then able to use that same discipline when something happens that I have to deal with. Could be a happy thing, could be a sad thing, could be something. Whatever it is, I have to deal with this. I have bills coming due. I have to deal with this. I have yard work that I need to do. I have to deal with it. I have to figure it out. I might not do all of it myself. I might find a way to hire someone to help me with it. It's possible. I have to find the money first, right? I have to figure it out. That is part of what I have to do in practice as well. I have to figure out how to let go of all that noise. Quiet the mind so that there's not really much there. Now, I'm teaching, so I have to pay attention to a few things, but the idea in practice is that whatever's there is whatever's there. It comes and it goes, and we don't try to hold on to anything. We want that potential. Empty is not absent. It's unformed. This idea of this comes from the idea of wu qi. Wu qi sheng wang qi sheng tai qi. Wu qi is the state before being. There's nothing. Wang qi is the state when things begin to take shape. There's not a form defined, but there is no longer formlessness. Tai Chi has a form, yin and yang. That form is what creates everything. That idea that we can develop the skill to return to that emptiness, wuchi, where there is the potential for everything, and there is a stillness and a quiet within that gives us a sense of being empty and full at the same time. It's, again, it's not that everything is absent, it's that everything is possible. That connection is part of what we want to develop. And as we learn how to use it, it becomes something that we actively engage when we need to. It's at will. It's not, I'd like to, and now I need to spend 30 minutes in practice to achieve this state. Well, we want to spend 30 minutes in practice to achieve this state, but that's not the goal. The goal is to be able to achieve the state at will. That takes practice. It takes time. It takes paying attention to all of the things that we need to connect and to coordinate so that that quiet does indeed contain all of the potential that we're trying to create. In practice, we have the emotional body, we have the physical body, we have the chi body, we have the spirit body, we have the energy body, we have all of the internal, I'll call them components, that we work with and develop. Physical body. I talk about the physical body a lot because, well, it's the physical body and that's what we have to work with. Regulating the breath, opening the lungs, opening the breathing apparatus, the chest, the muscles that support the lungs, the back, the diaphragm, all of the adjacent chest muscles so that we breathe fully. And I'm going to move my arms here and open from the chest, open. And close. That full opening and closing. As we pay attention to that in practice, as we actively think about, I'm going to open these muscles, I'm going to use these muscles, I'm going to develop the skill to connect these muscles through the breath so that as I breathe, I am fully expanding all of the muscles in my chest and upper back, mid back, and lower back, together with all of the muscles and tendons and ligaments in the front, particularly through the diaphragm to raise and lower the diaphragm, so that my breath is full and complete. As I do that, I must, if I'm really going to focus on that, if I'm actively going to pay attention to all of the things that need to happen, all of the small muscles, all of the timing changes, all of the physical effort that I need to do to perform that one thing, that breath. Breathe in. And breathe out. If I'm really paying attention to that, I can't pay attention to anything else. I'm too busy. I am. I'm too busy. What we want to do eventually is to use that litany of things that we have to do. We want to internalize that so that we do it automatically. I used the example yesterday in class of beginning student, what does the teacher tell them? Middle student, what does the teacher tell them? And beginning student is a basic reminder of the physical connection to the movement and the breath. For the intermediate student, the middle student, they're getting a little bit more. They're getting more reminders. Not so much for the beginning student, because the beginning student doesn't know all these things yet. The advanced student, start. That's it. Prepare. The advanced student needs to know and needs to be able to be ready. Getting to that level is part of what we're working for. That's part of why we practice. In developing the skills, developing the ability to actively do that. Put the physical body into good alignment. Set the breathing apparatus to open. Set the posture and the connections within so that the body is well aligned, comfortable, well placed, well centered, able to do what you're asking it to do. When we start there, as we go through that physical process, we begin to gradually connect the emotional body, the mental, the mind body, the energy body, the spirit body. All of this becomes connected to and through what we're doing physically. That connection, developing that connection, is a big part of what we're doing in practice and what we want to develop in practice. As we make those connections, we're gradually able to use one to address the other. For example, my sadness, not wanting to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I have no interest. At a certain point, I have to decide whether or not I'm going to practice. What am I going to do? Now, in my case, I've been practicing for 40 years. I'm not going to ever not practice. It's not going to happen. It's And I'll talk about that for a second in just a minute. So what do? I need to practice. And I need to find a way to work through the emotional questions, the emotional problems, the emotional distress. How? Focus on other parts of practice. It can't be forced. It has to be something that comes from, and comes from the heart. That idea of taking heart, of saying, okay, I'm not going to quit. I might have taken a few days off, but I'm not going to quit. I've been doing this far too long. I'm going to get back up. I'm going to practice. It's going to take a little effort because as I practice, some of the emotions will become stronger and I'm going to have to deal with that. Now, practice. In my own practice, and the reason that I'm going to continue to practice, and all of that ties in together. Part of the reason that I'm going to continue to practice is that I've been practicing for 40 years. I'm not going to stop now. It's too much a part of me. I've made it too much a part of me. It's not going away. And I don't want it to. That's the other thing. I don't want it to. What I want. I don't want to lose my practice. I don't want to give that up. But it's really hard to practice right now. Yeah, but why do I want to keep practicing? That question is one that, for me, I have several very good answers. It took me a while to come to them. I didn't have all the answers when I started. I knew when I started that I wanted to do something that I could keep doing. That it wasn't going to be confined to a gym where I had to pay a membership to go work out. I wanted something I could do. That wherever I was, whatever I wanted to be doing, I could do it. I wanted something that was interesting, that had more to it than just the physical repetition. I like dance, so Tai Chi was a natural next step for me. That next step and the next step and the next step is how I developed my practice. And what I get from it, better health, the ability to balance myself. I have always had, I'm going to say a great deal of enthusiasm for a lot of things. And sometimes a little too much. So balancing that, sometimes I would go way over on the other side and become very sad and despondent. And I needed a way to pull myself out of that and restore that balance. I also wanted a way to develop a better internal regulation for myself so that I could better decide, actively decide what I was going to allow and what I was not going to allow. What I was for myself as well as for others. Understanding that understanding of myself. I'm going to allow myself to have a cup of coffee after class today. I've learned that it's better for my voice. Practical consideration, it's better for my voice to only drink water during class while I'm talking. It's not good for me to drink coffee. I've been drinking coffee during class for years. It didn't seem to bother me. Except it did. And I learned about that. And I looked back at that habit and decided that no, I can do something different and I'm going to. It's working out pretty good, actually. That recognition, that self-examination, looking at something that I'm doing. How can I improve what I'm doing? What affects my physical body? What am I doing that affects my physical body? What can I do? Is it good? Is it not good? Maybe I'm doing a little bit of a workout and it feels pretty good and it affects my physical body to the better and I want to keep doing it. That is fundamentally why I have continued my practice all these years. It feels good. I like it. And as I developed a greater level of skill, not with the applications only, not with the movements only, but a skill in developing myself, a skill in developing my own workmanship within the movements, within the meditation cycle, within the workmanship that it takes to develop all of the skills that I've been working on. As I've worked at that, as I've developed those skills, that sense of connection with the physical body, that sense of connection with the breath, and that sense of development, that I couldn't do this when I started. That some things I need to practice a little bit more today in order to be able to do today. That I want those skills. That I want to be able to do these things. That I find great benefit for myself. It's because it's my practice doesn't necessarily benefit anybody else. My students, people who might want to learn from me, some of the things that I have developed the ability to teach, sure. But directly, no, just me. I like that. It's not selfish. It's something that, as a human, I can develop myself so that I can be better. I can develop my sense of compassion, my sense of empathy, my ability to discern different emotions, my ability to connect those emotions, and to understand, not rationalize, to understand where they come from. Why do I feel this? Why is this emotion particularly strong? Why is that emotion less? Why don't I feel anything about that? Why did I suppress my feelings about something? That knowledge is part of how we develop ourselves through practice. If I don't understand what affects my body, what affects my emotions, what affects my ability to complete a particular movement, because all of it does, it's not just the movement, it's the way we do them. And everything that is going on with a person affects the way they do a movement. I can set aside, suppress my emotions, particular thoughts, while I'm practicing. I've been in competition. I got lots of trophies and things here behind me, over here on the side, over on that side, just this side. Either way. And there were times when I really wasn't feeling it. I had to get up and go. It was time. I had two options. I could not do anything, or I could get up and do something. Those were my choices. What are you going to do? I got up and did something. And being able to do that, the discipline to do that, comes from practice. Being able to sit up. All right, I need to do this. I'm going to take heart. I'm going to take heart. I'm going to try one more time. And the ability to bring all of ourselves, the whole bodies, all of those bodies, the emotional body, the physical body, the mental body, the spiritual body, being able to bring all of that into one and to take heart so that I can go on, I can keep going, I can figure it out, I can find a way, I can develop myself so that I can be a better human. I can build my skills in all of these things that make us human. It's not an accident. It's development. The more we recognize our own ability to develop our own skills, to develop ourselves as humans, the more we learn about ourselves, the easier it is when we're confronted with something that is difficult, that takes us down a path of negative emotions. The easier it is, and it's never easy, but it's by comparison, right? The easier it is to come back to center, to recognize that we have these feelings, we have these emotions, to let them be. to let them exist. Yes, this is part of being human. I feel this. And that feeling is okay. We might not feel very comfortable when we're having it, but it's part of who we are. And as we allow that to happen, we also allow our practice to bring that back to center so that we acknowledge that we have these feelings. We acknowledge that they're incredibly strong. We acknowledge the sadness. We acknowledge the grief. And we can come back to center. That we can accept that this is part of being human. And that being human is how we develop our martial arts practice. It's not by excluding our humanity. It's by understanding it. The more we can recognize who we are, the more we know ourselves, the more we can do. The more we try to hide from ourselves, the more we put on masks, the more we pretend, the more we lie. The less heart we have, the less compassion we have, the less humanity we have. In the martial arts, one of the keys to who we teach is the person who has compassion, who has empathy. We don't want to teach the bully. I won't deliberately teach a bully. I won't. And if I find out that I have a student somewhere that has that mistake, I would first try and talk to him, and then I would let them know that they're not welcome in my class anymore. The kind of person who is compassionate, who understands that developing skills is not so much about using them as it is about not having to use them. That's the person that I really want to teach. Developing that level and developing that sense of connectedness and developing that strength of heart is one of the things that we absolutely need to pay attention to as we develop the physical strength, as we develop the physical body, as we begin to enable ourselves to do more. We need to work on the heart too. Thank you for being here with, excuse me. Thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate your time.